Do you see that? Do you fear that?
I don't, for a number of reasons. As Harry and there are a number of differences. What I think is important, though, is what is the pain point that is mobilizing these young people? One of the challenges and reasons it's not like Vietnam is it's diffuse. There is no central leadership. There is no, coordination among different groups around a core message. And so I think, but there's still clearly pain in the system that needs to be addressed. I think the president did a great job yesterday speaking to, hey, our values are free speech, but not violence.
And Matt, I wanted to get your take on what you heard when President Biden spoke out publicly for the first time yesterday. As Axios put it, he's trying to thread a needle of defending students' rights to protest, condemning anti-Semitism, condemning violence. Does this do that? Did he do that?
No, I think it was too little too late. And honestly, it feels political at this point. He's seen the same polling we all have. If you look at a Morning Consult poll that came out yesterday, 76% of Americans support law enforcement taking action on college campuses to ensure that it's a safe ground for students. You even have 67% of young voters agreeing with that. You look at a new poll came out today, ABC Ipsos, shows Donald Trump with an 8-point lead over Joe Biden right now over how voters believe, who they believe would actually handle the situation in Israel better. And so this is a reflection of the polling. But if the president was leading on this, he should have been out there 2 weeks ago at the same time that Speaker Mike Johnson was speaking at Columbia, making it unequivocal that anti-Semitism has no place on college campuses and that college administrators and local law enforcement have to ensure that college campuses are safe for every single student. The fact that he's doing it now, it's nice talk, but it's a little too late.
And Karen, this is becoming, though, looking today, does feel, I don't know if it's full court press, but we're definitely seeing more response from the administration. The education secretary sending a letter this morning to college and university presidents about condemning abhorrent incidents of anti-Semitism on campus, as he writes. I mean, Miguel Cardona's letter marks, it appears, the strongest tone yet from the administration. Let me read a part of what he's writing. As the 2023-24 school year comes to a close, I remain incredibly concerned by the reports of anti-Semitic hate directed at students on some campuses. This is a letter that was first obtained by CNN. In recent days, he writes, there have been a, quote, sharp rise in reports of anti-Semitism targeting Jewish students on some campuses. President Biden is speaking at a Holocaust remembrance ceremony at the U.S. Capitol on Tuesday. It feels to me that there is a lot at stake with that.
Oh, absolutely. But can we just remember that the administration has been in communication with the administrations of these different campuses for weeks, as well as the mayors and governors. And I do think that those administrators deserve time to try to have peaceful resolutions like we've seen in some instances. I think what changed is what was happening at UCLA, my alma mater, so that was heartbreaking, and the violence. So, and that's when it was clear, and certainly with Columbia. I think in the speech next week, what the president needs to do is, this is a perfect opportunity to remind us what this is all about. I think you can, use this as a teaching moment. What's happening in the conflict? What is he doing, actually, to try to resolve the conflict and to bring hostages home? What is he also doing to try to have peace in the Middle East, to have a two-state solution, but also to remind us the Holocaust is a remembrance of what happens when hate and violence go far too far, and that is a broader goal of the United States and, frankly, the human condition, that we can never let that happen again. And that's, as he said, racism is not an American value. It's un-American.
Matt, a final thought from you, because those are moments that any president, it's a very presidential moment. And maybe at that same time, Donald Trump may be in a courtroom in New York.
Well, these are presidential moments, but so are the actions you take leading up to those moments. And that's been the challenge for President Biden. He's been all over the map on this. whether it was his ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas Greenfield, abstaining on a resolution instead of opposing it, which called for a ceasefire with no conditions for hostage releases, whether it's the comments he's made about being bad for him, and Americans are saying enough is enough. So he has a moment on Tuesday, but it's gonna be difficult to erase what he's been doing and what his administration's been doing for the last several months.
Yeah, and it's that, policy, politics, it's all blending together, especially in this election year. Thank you both very much. A new hour of CNN News Central starts now.
Momentarily now from former President Donald Trump entering the courtroom for his hush money trial. The focus today, secret recordings involving his former fixer and attorney Michael Cohen. Also cracking down on college campus protests, police moving in to clear an encampment this morning on the campus of NYU. But those students-led demonstrations in the United States are inspiring pro-Palestinian protests around the world. And 7 million people right now under severe weather threats in the South, including Texas, after tornadoes and life-threatening flooding has already slammed the Lone Star State yesterday. I'm Sarah Seidner with John Berman and Kate Baldwin. This is CNN News Central.
All right, any minute now, Donald Trump will be back in court. These are live pictures behind us. This is the criminal case he faces here in New York. Now, the jury has had a night to digest a key piece of evidence. Donald Trump, in an audio recording talking about hush money payments with Michael Cohen. You can hear Trump say in this recording, "pay with cash." Now, this is about a payment to 1998 Playboy Playmate of the Year, Karen McDougal. Cohen also recorded a discussion with Keith Davidson, who represented Stormy Daniels in 2016. With us now, CNN's Bryn Gingras and Elena Treen. Bryn, I want to start with you. Where do we begin this morning? What do you think the jury will see and hear today?
Yeah, John, I love how you said digest, because there was a lot thrown at jurors yesterday. And I suspect when court resumes in just about a half an hour, we're going to hear some more of those recordings. Again, those were done by Michael Cohen, sometimes in secret. And many of them were played for jurors, not only on the prosecution side, but the defense was also playing some for their benefit as well. But let's start with the one that you just mentioned there, the one between Michael Cohen and Donald Trump. Remember, prosecutors are trying to explain to jurors how Trump knew about these payments that were being made to these women on his behalf. So here is one of those examples.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be...
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
I'll pay for cash.
No.
Now, that is the first time jurors actually heard Trump's voice on a recording. And as you said, John, that had to do with the Karen McDougal payment. But there was also a recording that was played between Cohen and Keith Davidson, an attorney for Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels, where essentially Cohen said that Trump hated the fact that they had to do it in regards to the Daniels non-disclosure agreement. So that was played by the prosecution for the jurors. On the defense side, they were also playing recordings of Michael Cohen. In one instance, he is said to use the word leverage, trying to say that the Daniels deal had to be done before Trump, before the election, because then they would, quote, lose their leverage in some ways. So again, both sides playing those recordings to their benefit. We'll see who sort of is believed by these jurors. Now, when court resumes in just about a half an hour, we are going to hear more from a forensic analyst that works in the DA's office that extracted some of these recordings from Michael Cohen's phone. Cross-examination was happening when court left off yesterday, and that'll pick back up again when court resumes in just about a half an hour today, John.
And we'll be watching very closely. In the meantime, Elena Treen, Donald Trump said something yesterday leaving court which was either a lie or betrayed extreme confusion that he has about the American legal system. He said he can't testify because of the gag order. Have you had any explanation from the Trump team into what got into his head?
Yeah, that's just not accurate, John, as you pointed out. The gag order does not say he cannot testify. And also remember, Donald Trump just last week was saying I want to testify, and he knew he had a gag order then. And so I think what's going on here is more of it's a good messaging tactic for Donald Trump. We've clearly seen him use the gag order to energize his supporters, rally his base, and attack the judge in this case overall for what he's saying is violating his First Amendment right. Of course, the gag order is actually pretty limited. When you talk to legal experts, when I've spoken with lawyers, they say, look, he's actually allowed to talk about a lot. He can go after the judge, which he's been doing. He did that on Wednesday when he was traveling to Michigan and Wisconsin. He can go after DA Alvin Bragg. He can talk about the case more generally. He just cannot talk about witnesses and jurors. And I'm told, I know from Donald Trump's point of view, the thing that's really upsetting him about the gag order is that he can't attack people like Michael Cohen. And that's really where a lot of this comes down to as well. Now, I do also just want to give you a preview of what Donald Trump is going to be doing when he leaves the courtroom today and where he's going this weekend. He's going to be trading the courtroom in New York for banquet halls in South Florida. He's going to be headlining and be the main attraction at the RNC's retreat in Florida this weekend in Palm Beach. And I think very notable, there's going to be a lot of potential vice presidential contenders who are attending as well. People like Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, Elise Stefanik, the House Conference Chair, the House Republican Conference Chair, I should say, Byron Donalds. A lot of these people who, Doug Burgum, North Dakota governor, a lot of these people who Donald Trump has been saying privately that he might want to choose for his potential vice presidential pick. Of course, he doesn't have any plans to announce that until later this year, closer to summer, I'm told. But there's going to be a lot of interesting people in the room. I think we'll be getting a lot of reporting out of it. And Donald Trump, I think, very much wants to be surrounded by his supporters, the people who will be boosting him, boosting his ego. We know that he has really been unhappy attending this trial. I think the novelty of it wore off for him very early on. And so he'll be getting some of that praise and be surrounded by his supporters this weekend in Florida. John?
It's very cold, he complains every day inside that courtroom. Elena Trine, thank you very much.
The one similarity between that courthouse and this studio, it is very cold.
You turn the heat up, it's like tropical in here.
You know what? When you have to have a gun show every day, you need to have it a little warmer, okay? I think we should move on to actual news. Do you want to say anything else?
Go ahead.
Exactly. Boom. All right, coming up for us, historic flooding is hitting Texas. Mandatory evacuations are underway, and another round of storms are expected today. We will take you there as they're going through it. Plus, a fresh look at the U.S. jobs market. The economy adding fewer jobs than expected in this new data. Why that's being seen as good news right now. And we have live pictures, back at it, back in that courtroom inside in New York City. Donald Trump just arrived as the 7th day of testimony in his trial begins soon.
Every piece of evidence tells a story.
How It Really Happened with Jesse L. Martin, Sundays at 9 on CNN.
Allergies? With Allegra, they won't stop me. Nothing beats Allegra. It's the fastest, non-drowsy 24-hour allergy relief. Live your greatness.
What would you like to pay for your hotel room tonight? $185, $169, or $155? Same room, same service, just different prices. It's really up to you. Well, nobody asks you this at reception, but that's exactly what Trivago does. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of booking sites. So, save yourself valuable time and money. Use Trivago, compare hotel prices, and save up to $30 a night. Hotel? Trivago.
These bills are crazy.
She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine.
Well, she doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to Coventry for cash, even a term policy.
Even a term policy?
Even a term policy!
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-461-8800 or visit coventrydirect.com.
Today, at America's Beverage Companies,
our bottles might still look the same,
but they can be remade in a whole new way.
Thanks to you,
we're getting bottles back.
And we've developed a way to make new ones from 100% recycled plastic.
New bottles made using no new plastic. You'll be seeing more of these bottles in more places.
And when we get more of them back,